So we're almost done with all this stuff. I know it's been a lot. We have most of the U for CRUD done. We can update something, a single comment, but we have to do it via Postman or I guess Axios or something. We don't have a form. We don't have an interface yet. So we need to make a form to edit a comment. And I want to have a little link here, but I can click on that will take me to a form to edit a particular comment. So that seems pretty easy. There's a problem though, a pretty big problem, which is that HTML forms in our browser can only send get or post requests. They can't send a put request or a patch request or a delete request. They can only send a get or post. And that seems like a pretty big issue. Fortunately, we can fake it, and that's what we're going to see in this video. But for now, we need to make a form, and an edit form usually will have information pre-filled out, which is nice. So we're going to make a text area to edit one of these comments, just like when you make a new one, we see the comment text. So let's make a route to serve the form. And just like with our creation form, this form right here, it's a GET request to get that form. That's all we want, is some route I can go to view the form. Now we do need to know the ID of the comment we're editing. So the pattern we'll follow is comments/ID/edit as a GET request, okay? So we'll do that app.get/comments/ID with a colon/edit. And then we need our callback in here, request response. And then what we need to do is find the comment based upon that ID. So I'm just going to steal that. And I'll probably steal this one here. And then we're going to render a form, or just a template, res.render comments/edit. And then we'll pass in this comment, because we want access to that comment so we can pre-populate the form. Otherwise, I could just have it be an empty form, but maybe you just want to change one character. So we're going to pass that comment through. So now I need to make this form, this template, which will be edit.ejs. Do the same little shortcut in here, edit. And then in here, let's do an H1, whoop, edit. And then we'll put a text area in here, and it will give it a name of just comment. And let's just see if this works first of all. Can we get here? So if I look at one of these comments, okay, and I go to /edit, oh, ID is not defined. Interesting. What happened here? Why is our ID not defined? Let me go check again. Comments.find, where that ID right there is equal to a comment ID. Really? What did I mess up here? ID is not defined. What line? I am a moron. We've got to get the ID from request.params. Okay, try that again. All right, so let's go back again. Click on one of these. We don't have a link to edit yet, so let's do /edit. Okay, now what I want to do is pre-fill the text area with whatever the current comment text is. So we have the comment variable in here. And to add text inside a text area, you just put it inside those opening and closing tags. So I'm going to do that right here. %equals, and we just want comment.comment. I think that's what the property name is. There we go. I don't know why this is centered. That's odd. But it's working. We do have our comment text in there, and I can edit it. Well, I can't quite edit it, but I can change it in the form. And then we do need a button to submit this, so I need to put this in a form. So we'll do that. We'll add a button in there to submit or save or something like that. Still not going to work, but at least we should be able to go to some comment, woof, 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 /edit. We see the current value of that text there. That's all good. Why don't we make it easier on ourselves so that we don't have to keep typing edit? Let's go to the show page and add a link to go to the edit page. So edit comments. And what's the route going to be? Well, it needs to be dynamic. We need to, inside of the quotes, add the ID for this comment. So comment.id. And then after that, /edit. So let's take a look now. If we go to our index again, details, okay, there's an edit comment link, and there it is. So that link includes the ID just like that, /comment/ this long ID /edit. All right, so now we get here, okay? We can make our changes. we need to make sure this form submits to the right location. So go back to edit. What's the path? Well, it needs to be /comments/ and then we need the ID. So we can get that ID in here. We have it, comment.id /edit. But there's a problem, of course, I've already alluded to, which is that we cannot send a patch request or a put request or a delete request. We can't do anything except a get and a post from a form in our browser. So how is this supposed to work? Well, if we go to the Express docs, there's this nice little tool we can use called method override. And this is a pretty common thing to see. Where are you? Well, on the Express docs, they link to this package called method override. It's very popular. And the whole goal is to help us use HTTP verbs like put and delete in places where the client does not support it, like a browser form. So we do need to install it, npm I method-override. Can do that. npm I method-override, just like that. And then we need to use it, obviously. So it has a couple of different ways that we can use it, and the option we're going to go with is using the query value. So one option is to send a HTTP header in the request that specifies this is actually supposed to be delete, even though it will be a post request. In the header, we can say, actually, please treat this as a delete or as a patch or a put. And then instead of express, it should match a delete route. However, we'll be using this option where we can use a query string value. So we need to call app.use method override, which is what we import, what we require. We execute that. It's a middleware, just like some of the others we've seen. And then we provide a string. And the option they go with is underscore method. You can name this whatever, but that makes a lot of sense to do underscore method. And whatever that is set to in our form action, if it's delete or patch or put, is what Express will actually treat the HTTP verb as. So even though it's a post request from the form, Express is going to treat it as a delete request if we use this option. So let's go ahead and do this. We need to import method override. Just start this up while I have the terminal open. Okay, in my index.js, we'll do const method override equals require method override. And then we need to call app.use and then method override. And then we provide the string that we're looking for in the query string. And underscore method is a good one just because you're not really going to have anything called underscore method that could conflict. Now, you might have something called method maybe in your query string. Suppose we were making a murder for hire application where you can hire a hitman. I don't recommend doing that, but maybe there's a parameter called method where you can filter by the different ways of having somebody killed. Strangulation versus, pushing them in front of a train. It's getting a bit dark. But my point is that you may have a parameter in the query string called method, but if we have underscore method, there's not going to be any conflict there. All right, so that's what we're going to use. Underscore method here. And then in my template, edit.ejs, I'm going to add that on to the end of my action. I'm going to use query string, so question mark, underscore method equals, and I want this to be a patch request. And I need to make sure that this is actually a post request. Okay? Otherwise, it's not going to function correctly. We're sending a post request, but it's actually going to trick Express into thinking it's a patch request. We're not really tricking it, but we're pretending. It's like everybody's in on the illusion that it's not actually a patch request, but it doesn't matter, right? All of this is just made up anyway. It's just these constructs that we use to help organize our code and to organize the requests that we make. It's just a pattern we follow, and we're all just kind of following it together. Now, you don't have to capitalize this, but I like to do that just to make it clear, have it stand out. Let's see what happens now. So in our index.js, we have this patch route, which we're sending a post request to. Where are you? But we're using method override, which hopefully will trigger this patch route, even though it's a post request. So let's go and try and edit one of these. Let's go back to the index. Let's edit woof, woof, woof again. Edit the comment. Let's go with meow, 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 like that. Oh boy. Save. Okay, cannot patch. And well, that's because the form that we submitted there is going to /edit. It really should not be going to /edit. it should just be going to comments/comment ID. So I'll try and add an annotation to make that clear when I made that error. So comments/comment ID is what we want, underscore method equals patch. Let's try that again. So I'm going to go back, edit this comment, meow, 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 save. All right, it looks like it worked. You can see that our change took effect here, right? We can still edit it again and put something else in here. Cool, that is working. So we're still sending post requests, but we're able to agree on the express side of things. We're using a secret code underscore method that this is supposed to be treated as a patch request, and that allows me to follow this pattern that we've laid out, where I can have /comment/ID as a get. I can have it as a patch as well. And in the next video, you'll see that I can also have it as a delete. So that's coming up next. In this video, we talked about setting up a form to edit a particular resource, in this case, a comment. We use the ID to pass through any information to that form that we might need. And then we pre-populate that form with that information. So in our case, it was just a really simple text area with the text of the comment, but you might have 5 or 6 or a dozen fields you want someone to be able to edit. And then the other thing that we did is set up method override so that we can set up our patch route, which again, you don't have to follow any of this. This could have been a post route called comment/ID/update. There's so many different ways of structuring this, but this is a pretty conventional pattern to see. So that's the end of the updating the U in CRUD. We've just got the D. Last up, delete/destroy.